For me, it's the sound of death. It's this difficulty that when you lose somebody, you want to talk to this person and you don't hear sometimes the person. So it's this trying to communicate. And at the same time, it was a word that came all the time when I was interviewing the Colombian families living in Brazil. It came again and came again. And then after I was just like, maybe that's the title of the film, because it was like so present on all the interviews that I was doing. And for me, it's also the silence is a place of hearing. So when you are in silence, you can hear the other side, or you can hear somebody else or some other culture. Of course, the little girl doesn't talk on the film. Only in one scene she talks. So also I think that keeps the people thinking like, why is the name and why she's not talking? I wanted to make the spectator, the public, active in the building the film. So I give the suggestions and I let the public to judge by themselves and to also contribute with their knowledge. And then little by little we were giving, like we are not hiding anything, we are not, all the time is there, but we just give more information little by little, and then the spectator is active in the construction of this world. So it started with a friend of mine, a Colombian friend of mine, who told me a little story about her childhood, when she migrated to Brazil and found her dead father living there. So that story I started to dream about it, and then I started to investigate and to interview a lot of Colombian families living in Brazil, and that's how it always started. Then I was looking for location and I found the island of Fantasy. So the island of Fantasy, La Isla de la Fantasia, appeared about 20 to 30 years ago in the middle of the Amazon River. It is between Brazil, Colombia and Peru. Each face of the island faces a country, and it's habitated by immigrants coming from all over the place. They say they don't belong to any country. They have meetings every 2 weeks to organize themselves. They have their own president. It is a very cinematographic place. It stays 4 months underneath the water, 8 months over the water. And when I met the people living there, I found so interesting their way of seeing life and their way of resisting, that I just rewrote the whole script so I could have them playing themselves. And that's when the ghosts and the death approach became bigger. And on the death assembly, we have people who were ex-guerrilla, ex-FARC member, ex-paramilitary, people who were victims of the war somehow. So they could speak about how the conflict got into their lives, and could speak from their heart.
¿Ya encontraron el cuerpo? No.
Because when you just have people disappeared from your life, in Colombia there is some beliefs that you should keep everything, like put food, have the iron, the clothes, and have their things alive, so maybe they would come back. Is a sign of caring for the people. In the beginning of the film, the mother and the daughter are very attached. She's carrying her everywhere, and then little by little they start to get more separated. With the kid is the opposite, the boy. They are more apart, like chasing each other, and little by little they start to get more and more together. Sometimes it's the point of view of the kid, sometimes it's the point of view of the mother. So I believe it's more like this process of the mother to understand their death and to somehow let it go. And the fluorescent colors are colors that are very used in the Amazon region, like people dress with that, they use a lot everywhere. And then they told me that in some indigenous rituals with hallucinogenic sacred substance, they say they see the spirits with those colors. So when I learned that, I just saw that it was perfect for me to detach the dead people from the alive people.
Hoy en la noche se celebrará una asamblea de fantasmas. ¿Quieres acompañarme?
It's a border film. It's a film about the border of cultures, border of languages, the coexistence between dead and alive people. And also, so I thought that this language of mixing the freshness of documentary with fiction could be very good. We have a lot of sound designs. We're shooting with 27 microphones in the island while we're shooting, because we want to capture all these elements of nature and also of human interference in the nature, so we could create these elements of presence of ghosts outside the frame. So we have a lot of wind coming inside the house between the holes, frogs, natural elements to create this atmosphere. Almost in the film there is no music, there's only a little bit music, but all the music is made by the sounds of the nature. It's the beginning. They started this peace process with the agreement, but now the government has to do their part, which is the land reform and also all the integration of the people and letting them have their political party and supporting all this transformation. But right now they have a extreme right-wing politicians and government, so it's under a menace to, maybe it's not going to, if the government doesn't do their part, it's not going to succeed. There cannot be peace without social justice. So they really need to do their part. I believe right now, actually, we are having more displaced people from Venezuela in this year. But Colombian migration to Brazil was the second biggest migration, contemporary migration. So there is over 2 million people all over displaced. And unfortunately, it's a situation that has been happening for a long time, and that is happening in other places as well.
Cosía los pantalones para los militares y tú para la guerrilla.
¿Vio? Es que así era como nos podíamos mantener informadas, así era como sabíamos lo que ellas estaban haciendo, ¿no?
There is a feeling that all these presence, even when they are dead, like for example the indigenous presence, our ancestors, even though they fought a lot, they were killed by the colonization process and all of that. But we have a feeling that they are together when we are fighting. So whoever were before us fighting, and we know that in South America we have this violence and the coup d'etat and all the time like it's coming again. We know that the next generations are gonna fight as well, the same. I mean, we go step by step. So I wanted to dedicate to everybody that were fighting before and who are going to fight after as well. And somehow you have the father and the little girl in this dedication.
Tu abuelita ya te ha contado sobre los fantasmas de acá de la isla.
Well, I love the Asian films. I love Apichatpong, Brilhante Mendonça, Hou Xiaoshan, Hou Sasu, or Naomi Kawase. And people say about the similarities about the films, and I think South America has a lot in common with the Asia, especially in the way we are between those worlds in a natural way. We are not scary of the dead people, we just consult them sometimes and they live together and they take care of us. So I see a lot of similarities in our cosmovision of the world and with theirs. I mean, this film was made to see on the cinema theater. We have so many levels of sound design that it's very hard to get into a home or in a computer or a cell phone. Also, the images, we have these long shots and you feel the time differently when you are in a cinema theater and when you are with a small screen. And you can see many more details on the long shots of what is happening. And also for me, cinema is a collective experience. So even if you go alone, you get out and you can look at somebody and you can hug somebody and you can talk. And for me, it's a connection that all the bodies there become one body somehow. And we share thoughts, we share imaginary. We can talk after a film, have a pizza or whatever. So it's a unique experience for me.